So, you want to join the Navy. If you're getting ready to take the Armed Services Vocational Aptitude Battery, or the ASVAB, and need to understand how it's scored, I've got some news for you. There are actually a few different scores for this one test. Stick with me, and I'll explain it all. Welcome to the US Military Test Prep channel by Study.com. My name is Corey, I'm a Seaborne Specialist in the US Army Reserve and an ASVAB test prep expert. In today's video, I'm going to cover everything you need to know about understanding your scores on the ASVAB if you're looking to enlist in the United States Navy. I'll also explain what scores you should be aiming for if you want to be a Navy SEAL. Let's get started by breaking down the scoring system and interpreting the results. The ASVAB has 9 or 10 subtests depending on if you're taking the paper or the computerized version. These subtests check out your knowledge in different areas like general science, arithmetic reasoning, word knowledge, paragraph comprehension, and mathematics knowledge. Word knowledge and paragraph comprehension are added together to get your verbal expression score. The other areas are electronics information, auto and shop information, mechanical comprehension, and assembling objects. Coding speed is also part of the ASVAB requirements for specific jobs in the Navy. You'll get a standard score for each of the subtests. So, what is a standard score? It's basically how you stack up against other people your age, specifically 18 to 23 years old, in the US. The average score is a 50, and the scoring system is built around that. With 50 being your baseline, there's a 10-point difference which shows how far above or below average you are. So, a 60, above average, a 40, below average. Higher scores show off your strengths in certain areas, which can be a game changer for landing specific jobs in the Navy, like working as a SEAL. You also get a percentile rank. This shows how your performance compares to others. For example, a percentile rank of 75 means you scored better than 75% of standard test takers. Here's where it gets a little bit more customized. The military uses composite scores, also known as line scores, to figure out what jobs you're best suited for. These scores come from combining your standard scores in related areas. Each branch of the military does have its own way of calculating these because different roles require different skills. The Navy will add together your standard scores in different combinations for different jobs. These line scores are known as Navy Enlistment Qualification, or NEC. If the sum of your scores are equal to or greater than the minimum required score, you may be eligible for the job. For example, if you want to be a construction mechanic, you'll need your combined scores from the arithmetic reasoning, mechanical comprehension, and auto and shop information subtests to be at least 162. If you want to be a Navy SEAL, you have a few different score combination options. The first possibility is to get a combined score of 170 or more on your general science, mechanical comprehension, and electronics information subtests. Second, you could get at least a 220 on the total of your verbal expression, mathematics knowledge, mechanical comprehension, and coding speed tests. The final option is to get a combined score of 110 or more on your verbal expression and arithmetic reasoning subtests, with a minimum of 50 on your mechanical comprehension test. Be sure to do some research on what combination of subtest scores the NEC you're aiming for requires. Then you can really hone in on the subtests you might want to spend some extra time prepping for. Your Armed Forces Qualifying Test, or AFQT score, might be the most important score. It decides whether you can even enlist at all. Each branch sets its own minimum score, so you have to clear that bar to move forward. The AFQT score comes from a combination of your scores on 4 key subtests. These subtests include arithmetic reasoning, which has basic math word problems, and mathematics knowledge, which includes a variety of math concepts. The other 2 subtests are word knowledge, which tests vocabulary and word meanings, and paragraph comprehension, which measures how well you can understand written materials. Your AFQT score is a percentile ranking, meaning if you score a 60, you did better than 60% of standard test takers, but each military branch does have its own standard. Let's take a closer look at the minimum AFQT score you need if you want to enlist in the Navy. You need a high school diploma or GED to qualify for any branch of the military. The required score varies though based on which you have, and if you've passed the GED exam, you'll need to aim for a score of at least 50 for all branches. If you want to enlist in the Navy and have a high school diploma, you will need at least a 35. If your AFQT score is higher than minimum, that's fantastic. This opens up additional job options, potentially more career growth, and maybe even some bonuses. So, how should you actually interpret your scores? Well, here's the deal. If you're getting low scores in certain areas, it doesn't mean you can't join the Navy. It just might limit your options when it comes to certain NECs. Make sure you review the score requirements for the specific job you're aiming for. Meeting with a Navy recruiter could also be helpful. They can help walk you through the score requirements for different job options, help you understand what you're qualified for, and give you tips on how to improve if you need to. And if your AFQT score isn't at least a 35, don't worry too much. You can still retake the ASVAB. You'll need to wait 30 days before your first 2 retakes, and after that, it's a 6-month wait if you want to try again. Interpreting your scores really comes down to 2 questions. Are you eligible, and what specific NEC are you interested in? If you have a goal in mind, it's easier to make sense of your results and set a game plan. Let's talk about some steps you can take to improve your scores and better position yourself for the Navy jobs you want. First, pinpoint your weak areas and look at which subtests brought your scores down. Next, study smarter. Spend more time on the sections you struggled with, especially the ones involved in computing the minimum score for the job you're aiming for. Using good study resources can make a huge difference. Study.com's ASVAB test prep resources can help with personalized plans and practice tests to get you on track. In fact, 92% of users pass the ASVAB after prepping with Study.com. Taking a practice test can zero in on what you know and what you don't. Watch lessons to review material you are less confident in, and if you feel like you know a topic well, do some practice problems and quiz yourself. If you notice you're missing a lot though, go back and review a lesson to make sure you know the material. A solid prep plan can always help boost your score. If you're prepping for the ASVAB, consider using Study.com's ASVAB study guide and test prep resources, and zero in on what you need to study. And remember, even if you don't get the score for the role that you wanted, there might be other Navy jobs that would be a good fit for you. The goal is to maximize your strengths. And that's the rundown on ASVAB scores for the Navy and Navy SEALs. Whether you're just starting to study or already have some scores to interpret, understanding what these numbers mean can help you begin your military career with a little bit of confidence. If this video helped you out, give it a thumbs up and drop a comment with any questions or topics you want us to cover, and don't forget to subscribe for more US military test prep content. Stand by, stay frosty. I'll see you in the next one.